Thank you very much, Mike. I'm a bit of an imposter, actually. The true host is the Prime Minister. I think I'm just merely filling a gap left by him in his very busy schedule at the moment. But it is a huge honour to be here. I've now seen all of these images, and they are staggeringly beautiful, moving, shocking. They're extraordinary. And what is even more extraordinary is that the first ones I saw, I think mostly in that little room there, are taken by 11 to 14-year-olds, some of whom are here, maybe all of them, I can see one right there. The architect of that beautiful picture of the gazelle leaping through the air. This is an extraordinary display, and it is inspiring. My first thing, actually, I'm going to abuse my position here as your sort of host, and say that I would love us to be able to put some of these up in DEFRA. It's not that DEFRA needs inspiring to do more environmental work, but this will certainly help anyone in DEFRA who might be pushing over the edge. So I'd love to cram the building with as much of this as possible. I don't know if that's copyright compatible, or if I have to do some kind of dodgy deal with someone later, but I might do. Maybe it's a deal. Okay, well, thank you very much. My office has got a single picture, so I wouldn't mind if you made these are inspiring pictures, and alongside the inspiration, the magic of the natural world, which almost all of these pictures present, there are some shocking things here as well. And they tell the true story. And the true story is that even while the world is magical, even while everyone here in this room can recognize that, the planet is being destroyed. There's no doubt about that. You can argue about elements of the science, but you can't argue with the facts. You've got a picture over here of the snake skin representing the illegal wildlife trade. £17 billion a year, much, much more if you include forests. Fourth biggest illegal trade in the world after people, guns, and drugs. You've got over here, I think that's the picture there of the turtle, killed as a result of getting entangled in plastic. Well, we're told that without a change in direction, by 2050 there will be more plastic in our oceans than fish, if measured by weight. You've got the human-animal conflict here, a lion that was killed, looks like a young lion that was killed as a result of taking someone's cattle. And that, in a sense, is emblematic of the whole problem, this human-wildlife conflict, which is bringing the world to a very dangerous place. If you look at the stats, it is hard to not use hyperbole. You've got a bunch of people protesting out here. They have been for the last 8 days. They're talking about an extinction crisis and a climate crisis. And we might disagree with some of the tactics. I disagree with some of the tactics. You can't argue with the cause. We have, in my lifetime, lost more than half of the world's wild animals. In my lifetime, being 44 years, it is a mere flicker, a blink, a blip in evolutionary terms. There's no possibility of us surviving another such blip without really serious carnage here on Earth. We know that there are a million species facing extinction, many of them probably among your 80 million collection. How many of those 80 million will be relics of extinct species in 15, 20, 30 years' time? There is really no doubt that we are hurtling towards something truly grotesque, and if you add up all the activities of all the world's governments in response to this crisis, it doesn't amount to more than a patch on what we need from world governments. Having said that, I am proud of what we as a country have begun doing. Even since the summer, the last 2 or 3 months, we have made a massive intervention. Boris Johnson, our host today, went to the UN, and he didn't just say the things that people expect world leaders to say, and all the world leaders did in fact say. He made real commitments. He committed to doubling our spending on climate change to £11.6 billion. He was the only leader to make such a commitment. And it changed the debate at the UN Climate Summit. And even more importantly, I believe, he promised that of that uplift, a significant chunk, undefined, but a majority, a significant chunk, would go towards nature-based solutions to climate change. That means protecting our oceans as a means of tackling climate change, but also as a means of reversing the extinction crisis, also as a means of preventing and alleviating poverty. Likewise, forests. There are 1 billion people who depend on forests for their survival. You protect forests, you're tackling climate change. The second biggest cause of emissions is cutting down forests. So you're tackling climate change, you're tackling poverty, and of course you're tackling the extinction crisis. 80% of the world's biodiversity exists in forests. So we are absolutely committed to doing everything that is required of us to play our part in helping turn the tide on the extinction crisis. And here in the UK, we're no better off. We saw the results of a report just 3 or 4 days ago telling us that 60% of our biodiversity has gone since the early 1970s. Again, a blip in evolutionary terms, catastrophic loss of life here in this country. Yesterday we introduced an environment bill. I don't know whether you were following the news yesterday, but it was met with a pretty gigantic green light from people who've been lobbying government to get this bill right over the last 2 years. I was one of those lobbyists until I became a minister. And it is not perfect. It will go through the normal parliamentary scrutiny, but it commits us and successive governments to doing whatever is necessary to reversing those trends. So at the end of this government's period and the next government's period, biodiversity loss needs to stop and the reverse needs to happen. We need to improve the environment year on year on year on year. And alongside that, we're creating a new body, an independent body, that will be capable of holding governments to account, successive governments to account, if they fail to meet those obligations. We've never had that before. So we are getting ourselves into a position where instead of just talking about the problem, we are doing our bit. I will never pretend that we're doing enough. I will always be lobbying from within government now for the government to do more. But there is no doubt that among world leaders, the current occupant of this place has done more to move the dial in just 2 months than anyone else that I can think of. I would say we need to give credit where it's due, but urge for even more action, because the world is tottering on the edge of something really very great. I wasn't here to depress you all too much. These pictures are magnificent. I want to congratulate the people who've taken these images. They are extraordinary. I spent hours looking at these pictures. Part of me delighting in the magic of biodiversity of the world we live in, part of me depressed to think that so much of it is under threat. But that, I think, is the job of this competition. Highlight the beauty, highlight the threats, encourage people to get as involved as they possibly can in their lives, through their work, through their friends, to try and turn about these appalling trends. Thank you very much indeed. Mike, thank you to you and your entire team.